really today I want to get people comfortable. If you're from Florida, you should definitely uh, look into the website I'm going to be bringing up in a second to, reach out to your local chapter. Um, there's always lots of free opportunities to the community to come learn. Different chapters will do field trips, through trails and stuff in their area.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab your gloves and get your compost ready. Stepping into the ring is the perennial powerhouse, the sultan of soil, the beast of the beds, where permaculture reigns, food grows wild, community roots run deep, and yes, the garden punts hit hard. Freedom starts in the soil. This is the Guerrilla Gardening Show.
Welcome back to the Guerrilla Gardening Show. I'm Mike with Mike's in the Garden. That's Sam with Central Florida Abundance. What's going on, Sam?
What's going on, Mike? What's going on, y'all? I've been running around today collecting plants. It's been kind of a crazy day, still in the work clothes, but we're here now, and today I wanted to talk about something I do in my free time, and what little of that I seem to have these days. But I've been very active with the Florida Native Plant Society. Now, are you familiar with them? Have you ever had any experiences with the Florida Native Plant Society?
Um, just by proxy, through yourself. But if you're watching this and you've had some experience, please share that down below.
Yeah, I mean, we are a statewide organization. The Florida Native Plant Society specifically is a organization that covers the entire state, and then it's divided into chapters by mostly by county. Some of them are kind of by region, depending on how populated the counties are. Um, but I'm actually the president of Polk County's chapter, the Heartland chapter of the Florida Native Plant Society. We encompass all of Polk County and then two of the smaller counties neighboring us. Um, and Polk County is an amazing place to get to explore around. Um, the Lake Wales Ridge is a major part of our ecosystems, as well as the green swamps. Now, really today, I want to get people comfortable. If you're from Florida, you should definitely uh, look into the website I'm going to be bringing up in a second to, reach out to your local chapter. Um, there's always lots of free opportunities to the community to come learn. Different chapters will do field trips, through trails and stuff in their area. Um, but if you're in Florida, definitely check into it. If you're outside of Florida, a lot of other states also have a native plant society that is structured very similarly. I know that Texas and Georgia and California all have their uh, individual native plant societies. But what I'm familiar with and what we're going to talk about today is specifically the Florida Native Plant Society, and this is the website here. It is fnps.org. I'll have a link down in the description. But this is what you'll see when you first come to the website. Um, there's lots of information. They cycle and keep this website pretty well updated. But this is really the important part here. The mission of the Native Plant Society to champion Florida's native plants and their habitats. That is a very important uh, keystone of the organization. I think some people may believe that the Native Plant Society is a gardening club, to get people putting natives in their garden, which we do talk a lot about that. Most a lot of our members are avid gardeners and advocate for, incorporating these native species into your yard. But really, what we try to get across is the educational aspect. We want people to know what natives should be growing in their specific habitat that their property is in. Um, a lot of times native gardening can get a bad rap because people will, grab natives from all around the state, mix them all into their yard, and then not really have success because those plants probably weren't adapted to the conditions of your property. Florida has coastal regions. We have extremely tropical regions down south, and we even have, more temperate climates up in the panhandle, as well as the dry, scrubby areas that we have and the wet, marshy areas. So there's going to be a wide diversity of native plants depending on the habitat. And that's really key is to understand and try to protect the integrity of these native habitats. But you can also check them out on YouTube. They're always posting, uh, honestly, a lot of informational, educational content, plant taxonomy, showcasing some of the chapters and what they're doing. Um, I mean, really just there's a lot of material on this website. I encourage you guys to go check it out. My favorite part of this website is right here under the resources, and that's the plant database. And so they are updating it currently, but you're able to uh, search plants. And so I'm looking up the skull cap here. It's going to give me the Latin name, and then I'm able to click on it, and it's going to give me some photos of the plant. You can see a lot of information, some landscaping guidelines. Right here, you can see the drought conditions that this plant prefers, and then even the native ranges.
Hmm.
So this is like the distribution. All of these highlighted counties are where you would find this skullcap growing naturally. So if you're in one of these counties, you know, and you're in dry, full sun, kind of sandy soils, um, this would be a really good plant for you. And you could find all that out right here on the website. You don't got to call the nursery, you don't got to trust that somebody else is giving you false information. This is all verified by many individuals that are incredibly knowledgeable. And then, I mean, the other resources that are available on here, I can be honest, I've never really gone through them all myself. There's a lot of stuff on here. You see, we are the Native Plant Society, but when we're talking about the habitat for those plants, we do work a lot with the native wildlife as well. The gopher tortoise here, always a keystone species for Florida and for us. There's lots of plants that can support the populations of gopher tortoises, and then there's several plants that need the gopher tortoises to eat their fruit and pass the seeds through their digestive system, or those seeds will not sprout.
Hmm.
And there's a plant, it's called Ziziphus, and for the longest time, nobody knew how to grow it in cultivation. But my chapter was privileged enough to get a behind the scenes tour at the Rare Plant Rescue at Bach Tower.
Hmm.
And that's led by Cheryl Peterson. And she's spent decades rescuing and researching wild native plants. Um, and she told us that there at Bach Tower, they'd been experimenting with the Sisyphus and doing all these things, but then they found some seedlings and they noticed that they were around the gopher tortoise nests, and they knew that the gopher tortoises ate the fruit of the Sisyphus, and so that allowed them to kind of piece that together,
Hmm.
and now actually be able to grow that plant out. But yeah, I mean, this is some of the, you know, advantages to planting for wildlife, how to incorporate, how to use those natives to encourage wildlife into their yard. A lot of times when people first get into gardening, they go just for this. They want butterflies. Somebody told them that, butterflies love native plants. And they were like, all right, I got to plant all natives so I can get butterflies. But not every native plant is going to, attract or even feed butterflies. And so this can kind of give you an idea of, the types of plants, um, planting plants for the larva, for the caterpillars of those butterflies. That's a great way to encourage them into your landscape. There's a big section here on milkweed. Uh, as a native plant advocate, I battle constantly with the tropical milkweed that is sold everywhere. And so we do talk about that. There's a lot of native milkweeds, and, it'd be great to see those sold in common stores. But we do actually do a lot of plant sales. Each chapter usually is pretty involved. Um, in their community plant sales, and you can track down, where that chapter is selling and, buy some local plants from some local people. So this is kind of the chapter directory here. Depending on what city you live in, it's going to let you know what chapter you're going to be in. So Lakeland, that's the big area in Polk County, and you can see us here, the Heartland chapter. But several other cities are also going to be in Heartland, Auburndale, Polk City, Bartow, all of these places. But no matter where you are, there's going to be a chapter near you. And I'll go right here so you can see. I should know this webpage. This is my chapter's website, which you can access somehow through the main page. But I think if you Google your chapter name, yeah, and so the address is heartland.fnpschapters.org. So whatever your chapter's name is, it would be that dot fnpschapters.org. But you can see here, the chapter websites are usually much more simple. There's like five of us that run the whole chapter. So, we don't have our a computer, or I don't know a web designer. Um,
You don't have an IT department?
no IT department, but we do have some things on here, our Facebook, we have a great social media director. I'm gonna go to our Instagram a little bit later. So we do post a lot on there. Most chapters are, going to be pretty uh, up to date on their social media. Every chapter also has a calendar, so you can go to the chapter website, to the events, and then it's going to give you a calendar of all the upcoming events. Um, and you can see that this is actually not my chapter. This is every chapter.
Okay.
So, I mean, that can be a nice, uh, breakdown too. You can see everything. You can see this is the Pine Lily chapter here. This event is through the Tarflower chapter, which is like Orlando. The Tampa area is Suncoast. They're also a very active chapter. Is there a way? I know we have a calendar on here. Guess I should have looked at this beforehand. We do have some links, but I will switch over here if I can. Yeah, there we go. So you see this, our the Instagram page.
Yeah.
You with me? So this is our personal chapters Instagram page. This is where we, share everything that we're up to. Um, this was from our meeting just last night. Um, how do I scroll through pictures on? I don't know if I can.
Yeah, yeah. You see, go back to
I
one of
see
the
the
posts.
dots.
No, no, no. Scroll up like halfway on the picture and to the right, you'll see an arrow. There
Oh,
you go. Yep. There
the
you go.
arrow. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, this was Blair Updike. She's an artist and a conservationist. We have speakers come to our bi-monthly meetings, um, and give informational talks, and then sometimes they'll guide us on field trips. This was this is an advertisement for a field trip that our speaker took us on. Um, So this speaker was actually talking to us about sand skinks and the scrub.
Hmm.
You can kind of see it up here. And sand skinks are a protected species in Florida. They only really, these specific species that he was talking about, only exist in Florida on the Lake Wales Ridge. And so, and they're also a species of reptile, I believe,
Hmm.
that lives its whole life underground. And so people don't really see it, they don't really think about it, but they're incredibly important to these scrub habitats. And so this is Neil Halstead. He is, oh, he studies reptiles and amphibians, and the word for that is something I can never pronounce. It's herpetologist,
Okay.
something like that. Someone will
Sounds
post it
good to
down in
me.
the comments. But yeah, he gave us a talk at our meeting, and then a couple weekends later, he was able to take us out to the Boy Scout camp, Camp Flaming Arrow, which is in a scrub habitat, and guide us on a hike and show us some signs of the skinks that were there. So that's really, what we try to do. We want to get people interested, in what's going on. We want to educate them about the habitats, but ideally, we want to build that interest so that they, can rebuild their properties or, um, you know, go at least venture out into the properties with us. I was hoping there was a picture of the group in here. This was a field trip we did to a restoration property,
Mm.
and you can tell what our focus is. We are plant nerds, and so all of the photos. This is a native black cherry. Uh,
Yeah, I guess
this
you
was
forget to take pictures of the group when you're focused on the plant.
absolutely, that's really the hardest part. We were just so enamored, the coral honeysuckle here. I think that's like skullcap. We're just staring at grasses. It's always a really good time. This is the property owner here with her design and her showing off the 0 inches of rainfall she'd had in the the past several months.
It looks like
Um,
0 inches of rain touched down there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been a rough year for everybody. This was from a project we did out at Circle B Bar Reserve,
Hmm.
which is, yeah, you're familiar, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, it's in South Lakeland, in Polk County. It was an old agricultural property that they've been working on restoring, and all the land restoration is entirely volunteer driven. And so this was a project we did out there with a Boy Scout troop. And we got a ton of people out there and we planted, I think, about 150 slash pines,
Wow.
along with some other species. Um, but it was a real good day. You know, some of our members got to get out there. And then we also got to connect with another community group. That's a big part of what we try to do is, connect with the community. We're always trying to bring in other organizations and support other organizations that are also, aligned with saving Florida's natural environments. The Sierra Club, the Audubon Society, the Nature Conservancy, we really try to work as closely as possible. This was another field trip we did, and you can see here, well, I guess I'm guiding that. We did have a guide for this trip. Oh, this was actually an interesting one. Now I remember this was our foraging hike. And
Okay.
so right here, this is Betsy Harris. She came to one of our meetings, and our informational meetings are on Tuesday evenings at various locations around Polk County, but they're always posted on our Facebook. So she came to one of our chapter meetings and gave us a talk on native edibles, and different way to use natives, in cooking, or in teas. Lots of really interesting stuff. And so then we went out to the Green Swamp. This is in uh, like northern Polk County. This is like a southeastern part or the northeastern part of the Green Swamp. And we went around. She showed us the wild grapes that were growing out there, the wild blueberries. She taught me about a native plant that has a similar property to Spilanthes. Spilanthes has this like numbing effect, but it's also really good for your mouth. And so that was really cool. I think I still can't remember the name, but I can recognize it when I see it. So it's always really fun to get out on the trails. This was actually. So one of the recipes she gave us
Hmm.
was for green pine cone syrup. And how it was described is that it tastes like Florida. And
Okay.
it really does. It's kind of piney, but not in like a Christmas way.
Hmm.
It just kind of tastes like, you're outside in the woods walking on fresh pine needles. It's very light. Um, Really hard to collect green pine cones, we all discovered, because the green ones don't fall off the tree typically. So you either got to climb up there or, wait for a storm to come blow them down. Um, but we're an entirely volunteer-based organization. Um, our entire board is volunteers, and then obviously our volunteer members we rely very heavily on to help us with things like our plant sales. Uh, we always go to the Munn Park plant sale in Lakeland, and then we've also been going to the Hollis Gardens plant sale, also in Lakeland, for the past 3 years now. We do two a year. We'd like to do one or two more, but we're still looking for the volunteer power to make that happen. Um, it's a lot of work running a booth, selling plants, and ideally, we do it all in shifts, but right now, when we're still collecting up our volunteers, me and the vice president usually end up out there for like 8 hours.
Okay.
Uh, So it's a long day, but it's always a really good day because we get to meet so many members of the community. And people who maybe have no idea about the Native Plant Society, and we're able to, maybe sell them some native plants, but at the very least, talk to them and, maybe provide some education.
So, Sam, you kind of answered a question, but I'm just going to phrase it in a different way in case someone watching is thinking the same thing. You said it's all volunteer, so it doesn't cost anything to join.
It does cost to
Okay.
join,
Okay.
and I wonder if this will pop back up. It didn't. So, depending on when you watch this video, it may cost $30 a year to join, which is the price right now. And
Okay.
that's for a single individual.
Okay.
It's $30. And then if you're a family, I think it's $50.
Okay.
But very soon, and they have put up information about this when you go to the website, it'll have a disclaimer that in the next month or so, the annual individual membership is going to go up to 50, and then the family membership is going to be $90.
Okay.
And I can say that I serve on the Council of Chapters, which is basically a committee where one person from every county chapter becomes the representative, and then we all get together once a month to just discuss the statewide operations. And so we had many discussions on the price, and the price raise. It's been $30 for the past 15 years. And so, really, guys, if you check the website and it's 50, you had a long time to get that good price. But
It
I
it
think fifty
it
dollars is
took
still
15
reasonable.
years to adjust to inflation, so you've had plenty of
Yeah.
time there.
There's so many activities that go on. You can get your money's worth just by, uh, going out. And as I think I said earlier, most of the chapters will open most of their events to non-members. So if you want to dip your toes in, you're not necessarily committed to spending the $50 a year, just go out to an event. Um, find your local chapter, see what they're up to, um, and just go say hi or don't, sit in the back, see what they're all about, and then think on it for yourself. I always try to bring in the newcomers. We always try to have some ice breaking activities. And so when we when we have new people sitting in the back, I'll make sure they at least say hello and know that they're welcome. Um, everybody's real friendly. And so the state chapter, which there's a few people that are paid in the state chapter. Um, and the main focus of the the state, uh, I guess not really a chapter, that's how we refer to them. Um, but they support us through, various back end uh, and logistical things, as far as we're a nonprofit organization. So there's a lot of tax code and laws that come along with that, and they make sure that we stay clean and up to date with all of those things. They also, make sure that all the chapters are cooperating together. But then the big thing that the state chapter does is lobby the state government for native plant and native habitat conservation. Um, a lot of the big laws and land battles that go on in Florida, which if you're from Florida, it's pretty much all the time now. We've
Never
we've kind
ending.
of it's never ending. We've forgotten about our protected lands, and now they're just like, well, we've ran out of all the other land. Might
Yeah.
as well develop that too. Um, but the state Native Plant Society is a huge defender of Florida's native lands. A lot of your membership money, when you pay for that, the state chapter gets a percentage of that, and then they put that towards, all of this conservation advocacy that they're doing. It also goes to, pay some of their people. But all of that just ties in with, the big thing. This is, I think, one of their main people. Not, I don't know what her role is. Her name is Lily, and she is always on the social media. This is the taxonomy. Um, Very friendly people, and just so much information they're always sharing. Yeah, Lily Bird, I believe her name is. Um, there's so many people in the statewide organization that you rarely get to meet everyone. Um, but we do try to, get together every now and then. I missed our last get together meeting. Um, but hopefully I'll get to go to that next year. And maybe I'll see some of you guys out there too. What do you think, Mike? You gonna sign up after this?
I think I am. I know a lot of, at least from maybe different chapters in different states or organizations or whatever, but I know there's some that offer seeds or plants and stuff like that. So I would definitely encourage, if this was interesting or if you're excited and motivated, ambitious to get out there and join, to head to the link below. We'll have that down there. And yeah, I think it's something that, if this struck a nerve with you, just learning more about the native species and how you can help those native species, then this should be something for you. So yeah, I'm definitely going to look into joining a local chapter
Yeah.
here.
It is usually a great place to swap plants. There's always a lot of plants and seeds swapping hands at our events and meetings. Because I mean, you know, it's some of our members, some of our core group are, more of ecologists. It's their profession. But a lot of our gardeners, it's just a fun time to go chat about your garden, share what's growing, share your experiences. You can always learn a lot. And well, really, if you want to know more about the plants that grow around you, definitely come out on a field trip, because the people who, attend these things, they know their plant species. And if you've ever wondered, what that random thing is growing on the ground, they can probably tell you, because if you live in their area, they probably got the same thing growing, and they're already familiar with it. So if you're in Polk County, you can check out the Heartland chapter, which I showed our Instagram. You can also check us out on Facebook. I'll drop a link for that down below. But if you're any of the other counties in Florida, just check on fnps.org, figure out where you're from. And if you're from a different state, just search your state's Native Plant Society, and I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, for sure. Great. Well, this was highly informative, and I think definitely needs more attention brought to it. So thanks for taking this time today, Sam, to put a spotlight on native plant societies, especially here in Florida. If somebody wants to learn more about you, Sam, and what you do, where can they find you?
Yeah, if you'd like to help me afford all of my Native Plant Society work, you can hire me for a consultation. My company is Central Florida Abundance. If you're not watching this on my channel, you can check out my YouTube. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, or you can shoot me an email directly. All that will be down in the description. Or you can check out igofarm.com. We're going to have our spring produce on sale soon. So we'd love to see you out at the farm.
Excellent. And you can follow me at Mike's in the Garden. It's gonna be a whole bunch of logos and things scrolling across the screen right now. So you can just pick your favorite one and go follow me over there. Follow me on all of them. And of course, Sam as well. So if you're watching on Mike's in the Garden, make sure you do go and subscribe to Sam's channel. And if you want to support me and what I do so that I can keep bringing Sam on for some of these amazing episodes, you can head to the Etsy link down below and get yourself a shirt like I poop breakfast here. Um, you
I
know,
wish I could.
I definitely poop by breakfast, around breakfast. It's usually,
And Japan, that's breakfast for the garden.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Next episode.
yeah, for sure. I think that's it. Yeah, I was going to add something else, but I think that's all we have for today. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. Please leave a comment down below if you enjoyed this episode, if you're involved in a native plant society or group near you. Drop the link so that someone else can find
Drop
it.
your chapter below. Let
Yeah,
us know what
absolutely.
chapters you're viewing. I want to know who else in there, who else is out there from FNPS. I know there's at least one of you. So drop it down in there. Maybe we'll be in the same chapter. Who knows?
For sure.
Y'all take care.